Alright, guys, let's react to the news today. This one's by Philip DeFranco. We reacted to the news 10 times the past month. Get into it, guys.
Today, we're talking about a family that says they were coerced to pose for a sexy homeless person calendar. Israeli government's going after Gigi Hadid, and she's now getting death threats. Taylor Swift continues to be unstoppable. We break down the dumpster fire.
Yeah, Taylor Swift, man, she's on such a good streak.
The Jim Jordan house situation. The sizes of homes are shrinking because the housing situation's so messed up. We're talking about all that.
Yeah, housing situation is messed up for sure, though.
And so much more on today's extra-large Philip DeFranco show. You daily dive into the news, all made possible by the October drop over at BeautifulBastard.com. Sizes are already starting to sell out quicker than expected, so get what you want while you can. And since these are our own custom clothes, we went size inclusive. You can go small to 5XL. But with that said, we got a lot of news to talk about today, so let's just jump into it. Starting with Israel.
He must be making bank off his clothing line here, guys. We just don't know how much exactly, though. But I'm sure it's quite a good amount.
Official social media accounts are going after Gigi Hadid, and the Hadid family is now facing death threats, with Gigi specifically having already gotten a lot of heat online, but I have a lot of people looking at the situation even more because the Israeli government has gotten involved. Right, and for some background here, Gigi and Bella Hadid's father, Mohammed, is Palestinian, and over the years, both sisters have spoken in support of Palestine. And last week was no different, with Gigi making a statement saying that her thoughts are with all the innocent lives taken in this tragedy, and adding that the terrorizing of innocent people is not in alignment with and does not do any good for the Free Palestine movement, saying that all that
Dang it. A lot of politics in his videos.
does is further violence and perpetuate the false idea that being pro-Palestine is equivalent to being anti-Semitic. And then writing further that she shares condolences with both Palestinians and Jewish loved ones, and that her hopes for Palestine do not include any harm to Jewish people. Also adding that people deserve basic rights no matter their nationality.
Okay, we're gonna skip to the next one. She got threatened for her posts here, guys. Okay, this one. Homeless calendar. What is that, guys?
Posted online. And then I'm going to ask you a question that, I mean, me just even asking it makes it sound like I should probably go to jail. But for the sake of this news story, I have to ask you, would you buy a calendar full of photos of sexy homeless people? Because while that is 100% not something that I am selling on BeautifulBastard.com, Nomad Alliance, an aid group for unhoused people in Salt Lake City, is about to release its third Sexy Nomad calendar, with it featuring a 12-month spread of professionally photographed homeless people from the city rather than traditional models. Like one guy posing shirtless in a wheelchair, leaning forward and squinting his eyes like a fashion model. And his legs crossed, which end in stumps just below his ankles after frostbite took his feet after he slept outside last year. And then, below his and every
Wow, man, that's tragic.
other picture, the calendar will include write-ups of their life stories, including their struggles and hopes for the future. Now, in response,
I'm glad they actually got homeless people, instead of just they could have went to Hollywood, guys, and got some homeless actors that were all jacked and stuff. But that was actual homeless people. So why is this getting backlash, though?
response to this, some people have accused the group of being insensitive and even exploitative, with their argument being that it coerces desperate people who have little ability to say no because of their situation. But then, on the other side, you have the group.
That's the definition of my whole homeless stint, by the way.
Group's founder, who is technically homeless but lives in a trailer parked on a friend's property, seeing it differently, saying, "I never thought I was pretty until I was asked to step in front of a camera. It helped me realize that I have power and value and that I'm being seen and that I'm important. I wanted to give that to my friends on the street," and arguing that the calendar highlights the beauty and humanity of a group that's often made invisible and treated with disgust. And also with
doing a subtle shout out to the Invisible People, which is another homeless YouTube channel. It focuses on that.
that the founder believing that all publicity is good publicity.
Guys, never be homeless. Straight up, guys. That guy lost his legs, bro. Oh my goodness. That's that'd be so sad, bro. I legit feel really sad for him, man. I'm trying to hold back tears. Sorry, guys. I dealt with homeless for a while, man. I'm so happy. I got seriously injured while I was homeless, so that's why it's well, let's keep watching, guys.
And the calendar has reportedly brought more attention and grants to Nomad Alliance, which allows the organization to do more of its other work, like supply drives and workshops on everything from self-defense to art therapy. And that is arguably needed since Salt Lake City's unhoused population has grown significantly. But also with the situation, there have been additional controversies. Right, like back in July, reportedly the group took up the case of a husband, wife, and their 4 kids who were living on the streets, with it setting up a GoFundMe for them so they could buy a trailer. But As the donations rolled in, eventually totaling over $36,000, Nomad Alliance asked the family to be on its calendar. And there you had the wife claiming they didn't actually want to do that, but felt compelled to do that because of all the group had done for them. And now she
That's like me. Whenever somebody asks me to go to work or like get a job, I didn't want to do it, but I felt compelled to do it.
says that they still have
Yeah, I would do it. They didn't have to do it, guys. But the people liked their story, and they wanted to help them out. They did help them out. I'll do it. I would do it. But I understand, like, it's like somebody calling you to work, bro. You want to do it, but you feel compelled because it's like money, bro.
haven't received their GoFundMe money, and the state's investigating a complaint filed against Nomad by a former volunteer. And so with all that going on in this, let's call it unique situation, I'd love to know your thoughts. And then, yesterday we talked about the Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis and the KSI versus Tommy Fury fights. And one of the things I said there is I'm so fascinated to know what the pay-per-view numbers were. It just felt like there was so much build up to this event that there was no way it could be small. Well, according to Happy Punch Promotions, the event brought in roughly 1.3 million pay-per-view buys. Which, I mean, we'll have to wait to see if we get further confirmation there. But then, of course, there's a question about money.
That's quite a bit. Learned about the story earlier, though. Let's go to the next story. Taylor Swift on top of the world right now, it seems.
Sales. And then Taylor Swift has yet to find a vertical she cannot conquer, with her breaking record after record, and the most recent happening this weekend thanks to her Eras Tour film. Right, it opened over the weekend, raking in nearly $93 million domestically, getting another $30 million
and it's just her performing
internationally.
Honestly, I'd see it. I'm not even Swiftie, I'd see the movie. I'd just have it playing in my background the one day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, while I'm doing work around the house, just have it playing.
Which notably marks the highest domestic opening weekend for a concert film ever. And you have outlets in the space like Variety noting that there are a lot of different takeaways for theaters to see with this success.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought it would have been any different, guys? What if Drake did a concert film? His album freaking took the world by storm, as it usually does.
Off with, I mean, just ticket prices. Right, for the right movie with certain audiences, they will spend more money. Because ticket prices for Taylor's film were $19.89 for adults and $13.13 for kids, which is higher than the national average ticket price. But that clearly didn't scare people away from the theater. And while not every star or director could get away with pricing something like that,
oh my gosh, that's a lot though. Wow, man, inflation, bro, inflation.
If they can, that opens a really big door. On top of that, you also had people noting how well cultural events are doing at movie theaters right now, right? Because this wasn't like a, hey, let me buy a ticket and sit in my seat for 3 hours sort of movie. This was a, hey, Swifties, let's dress, sing, dance, trade bracelets, go crazy sort of movie. Right? Kind of a more concert wearing all that pink. And so there's a question whether it be...
I like the trend. Hey, it's better than there being a dangerous trend. Screw it, let the fans have their fun. As long as it's not dangerous. I'm all for it.
With Barbenheimer or we saw with the Eras Tour movie, can this be repeatable? And I think the answer to that is maybe, but probably not for most. First off, regarding Taylor Swift, I mean, there's only one Taylor Swift level person right now, Taylor Swift. Anyone else puts a concert movie out right now, it doesn't do these numbers. And then as far as Barbenheimer, I mean, that really felt like lightning in a bottle. Or that was an everything coming together because people were memeing and then the studios really just kind of amped it up. They added the stuff on top. They weren't the original.
All right, next story, guys. Let's see a sponsor.
Sponsor of today's show, KiwiCo. I found projects being one of them. KiwiCo makes hands-on projects.
I think he has to have editors for his videos, guys, but maybe not. Some huge YouTubers don't even get editors, and they do it themselves. Me personally, I'm down for an editor. But my content, the stuff I'm releasing right now, doesn't really need edits. Any YouTube channel can benefit from an editor. I'm gonna tell you straight up.
Projects for kids, but the adults can have fun too. Seriously, we've been using these for years, and I see my kids' brains functioning.
I don't even know what is a Kiwi like? What are you talking about, bro? Some Nintendo Labo freaking knockoff? Let's go to the next one, guys. Virginia lawsuit challenges
the first month, and then
goodness, deny voting rights to prisoners. Pretty savage.
Legal battle is raging in Virginia right now over whether the governor has the power to deny the right to vote to tens of thousands of former inmates. And specifically, this fight centers around a man by the name of George Hawkins, who first asked the state to restore his ability to vote last spring after he completed a 13-year prison term for attempted murder. But twice now, the administration of the state's Republican governor, Glenn Youngkin, has turned down that request with basically no explanation. And this is notably a very unique situation, right? Because Virginia is one of just 3...
I'm sorry, guys. Politics give me headaches. And why do you do that, though? All right, we got Biden visiting Israel. It's more politics, but Bro, whenever I watch a Billy D video, half of it's like a history lesson, bro. I'm not even kidding, bro. That's what news is, basically, right?
court like it probably will. And then, after some questions about whether it was actually going to happen, President Joe Biden is now scheduled to visit Israel and meet with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Right? Because despite Israel being a close U.S. ally, there were some questions about whether Biden would actually stop by, as Secretary of State Anthony Blinken made it clear that a prerequisite for Biden's visit was Israel allowing humanitarian aid into Gaza. And so some kind of deal seems to apparently have been struck, although details there are sparse. Blinken said that the U.S. and Israel had agreed to develop a plan that will enable humanitarian aid from donor nations and multinational organizations to reach civilians in Gaza. And for Israel, they say one of their biggest concerns is not letting the aid convoys be used to smuggle in weapons from Hamas. And there are real concerns over whether Hamas will purposefully waste the aid to keep its...
Oh man, this whole war is just giving me a headache. I apologize, man. Let's go to the next one. Jim Jones. I don't know who that is. Jim Jordan. Okay. Let's look at his sponsor. Jim Jones. Jordan loses speakership vote. Z-Biotics, guys. Guys, what do you think this is? Like a probiotics? I'm like 85% sure it's a probiotics ad.
That is until I found the fantastic sponsor of today's show, Z-Biotics. Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut, and that byproduct is a big reason why you feel so rough the next morning. And Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break...
And part of the reason why I watch his videos every day, you get some good sponsors, man. Like a lot of times I'll just buy the products, like if I had the money. It sounds cool. I don't even drink though. But hey, if I did, I'd take it.
break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but
I don't drink that much.
in
Like,
your gut where
but
you need it most. So drink Z-Biotics before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. And they're not just a sponsor, I use them. Like I went to the Chargers game last night. I remember to drink a bottle of Z-Biotics before any
no way, you went to the Chargers game, bro. I didn't see him in the crowd.
alcohol, and I'm amazed at how good I feel today. But hey, main thing, go to zbiotics.com/DeFranco to get 15%.
Personally vouching for it. I mean, okay. I would do the same if I had somebody offer me a sponsor. By the way, NordVPN like contact me. Maybe we should get NordVPN up in here.
Sign off your first order when you
Next
use
one, guys.
Biotics for sponsoring today's show. And then, it's not a secret that buying a house in the States right now is a nightmare, if not an impossibility for many. But one of the big important questions here is how deep do the problems go? Right in there, I mean, we can start with the big problem, the price tag. Houses are hitting record high prices and home affordability has fallen further over the last several months, hitting its lowest level since 1985, according to the National Association of Realtors. And now, with rising mortgage rates, many current homeowners don't want to sell their homes that they purchased when the rates were low.
Inflation, guys. Depressing story. Deadly silicosis cases. What is silicosis, man?
I'm just fascinated by the situation. And then, are you a homeowner wanting a nice new stone countertop at a great price? Also, I'm not selling them. That's not what this is. But what if I told you that
I thought it was.
while it may be cheap, it comes at a human cost? And I ask all that because there's been a dramatic increase in cases of silicosis due to the cutting of engineered stone for things like quartz
Oh, heck no.
countertops. That's a manufactured stone that's extremely dense in silica. And because of that, it not only makes cost-effective and durable countertops, it also shoots out a ton of dust when it's cut that is inevitably inhaled. And the issue there is that the dust is made up of tiny particles of silica, which is essentially just sand and rocks. And over time, this stuff builds up in workers' lungs and
Oh my goodness.
causes massive scarring, leading to silicosis. And the worst part here is that there's not a cure for it. Now, it's not always
Hey guys, don't smoke, man. They're not even smoking in there. Oh my goodness, man. Hopefully we get something that can help him, bro. The guy's just trying to do his job and he's getting an incurable illness, bro.
fatal, but silicosis has a shockingly high mortality rate. At UCLA and UCSF, physicians recently looked at dozens of California workers who got silicosis and found that nearly a fifth of them had died. And tragically, because the average age of construction workers, this meant that the median age of death was just 46 years old, which is really, really notable because in the past, silicosis
Guys, that's sad. Like, what is going on, man? Hey, I got hit with something really bad pulmonarily in my 20s, man. I might end up passing away though. Randomly because of it. I'm an ex-smoker, guys. Yeah, I caught like some sort of like pulmonary thing. I hope it's not COPD. I just hope it's not, man. The symptoms are kind of like it though. severe asthma, COPD. It hurts.
Would often crop
Don't smoke, guys, please.
up in people in their 60s and 70s after decades of exposure, right? Not considerably younger people like we're seeing here. Now, part of that could be that many victims' physicians aren't expecting such a diagnosis in someone so young that they assume it's bacterial pneumonia and similar diseases first, meaning that their patient would then keep cutting and grinding away at this artificial stone and breathing in the dust. But really, the biggest reason is because of how much dust is being spewed out. Right? This engineered stone has way more silica than its natural counterparts because of just how dense it is compared to natural versions. Right? The density of silica alongside the resin to adhere it all together make it less porous and way more uniform, which is often ideal for uses in homes and in kitchens. But of course, now we know
We actually have like some silica or whatever it's called countertops where I live, man.
the big drawback is that you're killing people. And that is an important thing to look at, right? And understand, like, the stone itself isn't inherently dangerous. Like, if you have a house full of engineered stone, don't freak out. But the cutting and the sanding is a problem, the most common way to breathe it in. And actually, California
Thankfully, I don't find myself doing that. But yeah, I used to like be careful about occupational hazards, man. Face masks. Why did everybody stop wearing them, bro? Lungs are very. They need We need a little protection, man, with our lungs, bro. I'm saying it right here with my chest congested, bro. Spitting out every 5 seconds, almost. Phlegm.
Specifically the San Fernando Valley, has become a hotspot for silicosis cases, with that likely because of just how many homes are constantly being built and the fact that many engineered stone manufacturers are based there, with work safety regulators expecting that in California alone, between 485 and 848 people will get silicosis. Y'all, that's 10 to 20% of the 4,000 person workforce. And of those, a decent chunk of them are going to die from it. And then even those who don't die may have debilitating after effects, right? I mean, the only cure, if it can even be called that, is a lung transplant. While those are possible, they're risky and also are generally considered a temporary fix. And so because of all these major health hazards, right, this isn't an unknown thing. Places like Australia have actually just banned engineered stone. And while it hasn't been done yet, here in the States, California is actually currently heavily considering getting rid of this stuff. However, some industry groups argue, hey, it's actually just the way that it's being cut, arguing that workers are told they need to use a certain technique that involves having water constantly over where the worker's cutting, as well as how they're supposed to be wearing respirators that deal with these particles. And so this has led to groups like the Agglomerated Stone Manufacturers Association saying it is the workers who are messing up, and claiming the stone can be cut with no safety issues or health hazards if it is performed according to the best practices. But then also, investigations into manufacturing facilities in California have found that very few actually adhere to any regulations. Right? Workers ignoring stuff here can only account for so much if management is constantly on their asses. Not to mention that even with wet cutting and respirators, it's argued that still so much dust gets in the air that workers are still screwed. And on top of that, some argue that added regulations to try and help workers' health would be cost prohibitive. And that's because most of these workers are low-paid migrants. So there's not a ton of room to make money if costs go up. And that is
Dang, man.
has led some to argue that it would then cause major issues in the housing markets of places like LA, which, to be clear, it would likely just play a role. Where the housing markets
That's a tragic story, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Regards to Gigi. Gigi Gorgeous? No. I was like, yo, the name sounds familiar. But Obama, yeah, he did not make any mention of it, so it'll probably be next tomorrow's show when he talks about the hospital, the tragic thing that happened in the hospital, guys. He like gets done filming like yesterday and then posts it today. So it's like not live news, but that last story, man. I feel for those workers as somebody with like pretty bad lung problems right now, especially when I recently quit smoking. We're not going back to it. Thank you for watching, guys. Peace out.